Hello, welcome to the fourth and final part of our fifth lesson in our fourth unit, Graphing Quadratics, in our grade 10 academic math class. This is completing the square, the grand finale of completing the square finally, where we get to actually put it into practice. So it's not just practicing the completing the square, but actually doing it why we would actually do it. So it says sketch the following quadratic relation y equals negative x squared minus 6x minus 5. So for us, why don't we put on some of the stuff that we know already? So from standard form, we know not only our direction of opening, which is going to, I guess I'll draw an appropriate arrow, which is going to be down. There we go. And we know our y-intercept is right here, and that's going to be negative 5. So if I put that on my graph, I have negative 5 right here. But part of the reason that we complete the square at all is that, well, if you step back and sort of look at this doesn't tell you anything. We don't know where the vertex is going to be. We know that it opens down, but like, does the graph kind of go like that, or does it go like this? Like, we don't know much about it. So getting the vertex is important to us, which is why we're going to go through completing the square. So our first step is to common factor out the a value. Now the a value is a negative 1 in this case. Once we common factor that out, you'll notice that it has changed the sign of our second term as well, which people sometimes forget. So we have negative 1 bracket x squared plus 6x, and then there's the original negative 5. So let's keep going with this. We have now to complete our square. So we have negative 1 x squared plus 6x. We're going to add something, we're going to subtract something, and then there's our negative 5. So what's going to go into this bracket is half of b squared. So like I said, I'm encouraging you guys, if you can, to either do it in your head or write it down sort of in a little second spot. So half of 6 squared is going to be 3 squared, which is going to give us 9. So we add 9 and we subtract 9. So just to keep saying it, we added the first 9 to create a perfect square trinomial for us, but we added the second 9 to keep this equation balanced. So now we've created our perfect square. We just need to get that negative 9 out of the bracket because we can't factor with it in there. So how do we go about getting it out of there? Well, we introduced it into a bracket that already had negative 1 factored out of it. So we are going to then multiply by negative 1. That looks like x minus 1. Nonetheless, it is multiplied by negative 1, and that's going to result in us having a positive 9 hanging around out here. Our next line is just going to be a rewrite. So the rewrite is y equals negative 1 x squared plus 6x plus 9, and now outside we have a plus 4. That's been simplified there. So now we just need to factor this guy. And as we look towards factoring it, we want to remember that it is whatever multiplies to plus 9 and adds to plus 6. We know that the value in the brackets will be a plus because we have a plus here on our b value, and the result in the brackets is going to be 3. And there is our plus 4. So what's our vertex going to be? Well, the vertex looks like a positive 3, is a negative 3, and there is our 4. Our direction of opening, as we know, is going to be down. We already talked about that from the standard form version. So let's put this vertex on and then we'll talk about the plot pattern. So that's going to be negative 3 and 4. So negative 3 and 4 is up here. Okay, and we can dot on our axis of symmetry at this point. So let's dot all the way through our vertex, top to bottom, making it happen. There we go. And we will label that x equals negative 3. That's looking great. So let's get our plot pattern under control now. So our plot pattern is, as you remember, I have you write down 1, 4, and 9. And that's because from our vertex, plus or minus 1 from our vertex, plus or minus 2 from our vertex, and plus or minus 3 from our vertex, we are going to go, in this case, down 1, down 4, and down 9. But this gets amplified by our a value. Now our a value in this case happens to be 1, so it doesn't change a whole lot of anything. And remember, that negative out front really just tells us the direction of opening. It shouldn't influence our plot pattern per se. So we're going to go from our vertex, out 1 and down 1 in both directions, out 2 and down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, there we go, and out 3 and down 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that y-intercept lines up perfectly with our plot pattern. And then I put the other mirror point on. So this is looking amazing. Let's draw our line in there as curvy as we can. There we go. Let's get some arrows on the end. And let's introduce some labeled points. So our vertex was -3, 4. That's one we can label. Our x-intercepts are going through integers this time, so we can also put those on there. That will be -5, 0. And over here, that is -1, 0. And our y-intercept, of course, is 0, -5. The last thing we need to label on here is the equation. And the equation is y equals -x squared minus 6x minus 5. Is that right? Yes, it is. So there we go. That is our beautiful graphed quadratic. The reason that we move from standard form, which isn't particularly helpful for graphing, to vertex form so that we can get the vertex, get the graph on the page, and make it happen. We did it. We're done the enormous lesson number 5. Time to celebrate by doing some more completing the square for homework. So again, look through it, especially the first part of this lesson is really helpful for understanding the what we're doing and the why. Any little curveballs in the homework will be tackled hopefully in examples reflected in the lessons. So good luck. Be patient with yourself. This is a challenging new concept for you. So yeah, be patient. Don't freak out. You can get it done.